Hello, I'm Lorna and welcome to my podcast, Thread and Yarn. It's a place where I talk about the things that I've made, whether that's knitting, sewing, quilting or natural dyeing. So if you fancy a cozy little video about those things, then yeah, welcome. And welcome back to anybody who's watched my channel before. It's January now, it's a new year. I've had a good break over the festive period. I've worked on a few cozy things for me, and it also gave me a bit of time to think about what I would like to do over the next year. So this is going to be a little video showing you some of my recent makes, like this cord gardening jacket, some of the colours that I've been dyeing up recently, very sort of deep winter inspired colours, and what some of my plans are for the year ahead, as much as we can ever plan a year ahead. I've been trying to reflect on what's important to me and in my practice and what I'd like to spend my time doing and how I would like to do that in a way that feels good to me. So that's what this video is going to be about, just a little catch up and a bit of planning too. I'm going to talk about plans with my knitting, sewing, plans to finally finish this quilt and also a few plans for my dye garden. So I'm going to be going through my natural dye seeds and having a bit of a think about what I'm going to sow to grow some colour for dyeing this year. I find that my colour palette really shifts throughout the seasons, and I found that happening a lot more since I started naturally dyeing a lot of my wool and fabric. It's amazing how the colours reflect the seasons. I say that and it's not entirely true, because the main colour you see behind me here is blue, and that blue is coming from indigo, and indigo is not currently in season. I did grow some in my polytunnel this year, but as I mentioned before, I didn't get around to picking the fresh leaves and processing them. I treated it as a bit of a trial growing year in my polytunnel, and I've used it to save seeds to sow for this year ahead. So this colour is actually come from dried, like compacted indigo that I've had for a long time, a huge block of it. But it's kind of, in my head I think of it as a winter colour because I've always used it that way. I've never had the space to grow it before. And it's something that is therefore available to me when a lot of the other forageable and gardenable colours have faded into autumn and winter. So I always think of it as a winter colour, even though it's not at all. But it does, of course, go perfectly with deep winter colours, with all the different shades of blue. In the autumn, I found I was doing a lot of dyeing with walnut leaf, like to dye this Bboy Vest that I'm wearing now, late summer and autumn. So that colour really symbolises that season to me. And I've been using a lot of my saved ingredients to dye over winter, and also sort of forageable tannins, like some of the things I've got in the background behind me, like oak gall tannins, which give the kind of brown and grey shades. So yeah, there's a long way of saying that I do find that my colour palette shifts throughout the seasons and does kind of reflect what I'm using, at least, even if it's not entirely seasonal, what I'm using to dye things. And I quite like that. It's all sort of goes together anyway, because I do find that natural dye colours go quite well together, but which really helps you layer them up and pair them together. So yeah, I've got my little dye colour wall behind me of various yarns. I have got the winter retreat, knitting retreat coming up really soon in a few weeks, and I've been dyeing some extra yarn to take along to that, and any extra will go in my shop after that. So that's super exciting. Over my time off, what I really felt like I was craving was time in my garden and time at my allotment, and I've been spending a lot more time out there lately, and also because I spend a day a week gardening for my friend Lucia, and I needed some more robust gardening clothes. The gardening clothes I had, or the clothes I wore for gardening, had really fallen apart over like years and years of of wearing them, and weren't super practical to begin with. They were just old clothes, and I really wanted something that was kind of purpose built, that, you know, I found myself needing. And yeah, so I made some dungarees in December, which I filmed a bit about in my last December video, which I'll pop a little link up to. But I really wanted a nice warm cozy jacket, so I might as well start off by talking about that. Here is my gardening jacket, nearly finished, although I've worn it quite a bit already. It's finished entirely apart from it's missing buttons, because I did buy some buttons. Here they are, but I think they're just way too small. They're 2 centimeters, and when I did all of the wadding and lining and everything, because it's got wadding in here, they were just too small, and I thought it'd be annoying. So I'm going to get some bigger ones. I'm considering trying to make some out of some wood from the garden that I work in, and yeah, we'll see. And yeah, some a bit chunkier, I think, to get through all these layers. It is such a warm jacket. It's so cozy and squidgy. It's just like wearing a quilt, which I absolutely love. So if I tell you a bit about this jacket first of all, it is the Jamila jacket by Sewing Mason Sewing Patterns. It's heavily modified and hacked. It's not lined or doesn't have any wadding in the pattern at all. So I use this pattern because I've had it for a long time, and I just thought I would use a jacket pattern I had, and I even had this jacket cut out for like at least a year, and I thought, okay, yeah, it's kind of got a workwear look to it. It's oversized-ish, and it's got nice deep pockets. I thought, yeah, that'll be fine for gardening. But the whole point was to make something that was really warm, and I decided to go a bit rogue and to line it. So I had some leftover wool wadding from my quilt, and I used that. It was light to mid-weight, which I think if I was going to go out and buy wadding, I would have made sure it was very, very lightweight, because when you've got jumbo cord and a lining of cotton flannel and also wadding, it becomes very thick very quickly. And when I originally cut out this cord, I don't think I decided to put wadding in it. If I could go back in time, I would have cut out a size up to make sure I had loads of room to maneuver my arms. I still do have quite a lot of room because it is a relatively oversized fit, and also I was trying to reduce the seam allowances where I could. That was not super easy because the seam allowances were only 3/8 of an inch or a centimetre to begin with. But what I did basically was I already had all the cord pieces cut out, and I'd cut the yoke piece out twice, because clearly when I did it a year ago I didn't think I was going to line it or put wadding in it. And then I cut out lining pieces from this quite lightweight cotton flannel for everything else, apart from the button band facing and apart from the yoke, which I already had cut out, and the collar. And then the lining pieces I cut out, wadding pieces I cut out again, everything. I made the entire outer layer, made it up into a jacket apart from attaching the button band and the collar. And then I made up the entire lining layer using this piece of cord instead of a lining piece on the yoke. And I tacked my wadding to the wrong side of my outer cord layer. And and then I just slipped the lining into the outer layer so they were wrong sides together. Then I just turned up the hem of the sleeves and of the base of the jacket. I think that's how I did it. And then you kind of fold the button band over, and I top stitched it down to hide that raw seam. And then I attached the collar in the same way. That is a real whistle-stop tour, to be honest. It took a bit of head scratching, and it was quite difficult at points because of the thickness of the fabric. So if you wanted to do anything similar, what I would do is choose a jacket pattern that is designed to be lined, and then just treat your wadding and your outer as the same layer. That's what I would do personally. I did make it a bit tricky for myself, but I was just kind of working with what I had. But it all worked out in the end. And I even remembered, and I always forget to do this, to add a little coat loop thing, hook thing, so I can hang it up, which is super handy. And oh, the other thing I did, this was my partner's idea, which was a good one. I haven't cut all my loose ends off yet, but inside the pocket of the right hand side, which is a nice deep pocket, I've lined it with flannel. I put in little pockets, sort of extra pockets, little separators. I don't know if you can see that because it's quite a deep pocket. They're sort of running here and here. So I can put tools, little secateurs and things, or seed packets into there. So they're not just like loose in this huge pocket. I'll show you some videos of me trying it on as well. But yeah, it's very cozy. I've worn it gardening. I struggle to wear it with a really thick jumper. And have enough movement under my arms, but I think I probably wouldn't be wearing a really thick jumper and this, or I'd get quite hot no matter what the temperature if I'm moving around. So yeah, so I think that's fine. A lightweight jumper is absolutely fine. And to be honest, I often wear, you know, something really thick when I just start out gardening, and then you get a bit hot and I take it off anyway. So yeah, it's useful for the cycle over and for lighter work, or if I'm just pottering around and starting to warm up and stopping for lunch break and things like that. So yeah, I'm happy with that. There's definitely things I would change, but I think I'm happy with it based off of what I was working with. I wore it to a wassail the other day at my mum's village orchard. I don't know if you've heard of wassails before. It's something that it happens in rural UK. Maybe it happens outside as well. If it does, let me know. That'd be really interesting. But it's a sort of celebration of the fruit trees, specifically apple trees and cider trees. And the village came together to sing some wassailing songs. There was lots of folk music and a bit of Morris dancing, lots of hot cider which had been made from the apples at the orchard, apple cake, and it was just brilliant. It was really festive, and people tied ribbons on the trees and in their hair, and we left little offerings for the apple trees. We poured a little bit of cider on them and left little bits of toast, which the birdies will eat, obviously. But that just felt really nice thing to do, to celebrate something in our environment. Something else that I've worked on recently is I've had lots of little mini skeins left of Jacob yarn, and I thought I would dye them up into some cute little mini skein bundles. So here they are. I've been really inspired by all of the absolutely stunning winter skies we've had recently. This is why as well this palette is hanging on the wall behind me. We had some really clear, cold, frosty days for quite a long period of time, well, like a couple of weeks, which I was so happy about because it's so important for the environment and for the temperature drop. The gardens really need it, and so do the wildlife and all the seeds to germinate. It's really important. So I'm very happy about that. And we had some beautiful clear frosty days, which meant gorgeous sunrises and sunsets. So I've created these little sock bundles. They're each 100 grams, inspired by different intense winter skies. This one is very frosty colour palette. It's got like a very warm sort of pinky orangey brown here, whites and greys of the natural different Jacob fleece, and then different depths of indigo. Very sort of frosty morning, that colourway. And this one I love, really one of those intense sunsets that you get on cold and frosty days, where we've got warm orange and pinks, reds. I've got a teal with bits of red and purple in it here, greys and whites. I really like that one. I think that would make beautiful stripy socks. And then this one, this really, yeah, I've seen most skies like this recently, where you've got just beautiful blues and peaches and pinks as the sun rises and you get all the frost starting to sort of evaporate, and you've got the muted tones of all the frosted grass. So yeah, I love these together. I was really happy that they sort of reflected the colours of the sky as I had them in my head. So there they are. There's a couple of bundles of each colourway, and I'm going to pop them on my website on Friday, which is probably the day that I'm releasing this video. So hopefully I'll put them up a couple of hours after this video is released. Sorry, I haven't given you more notice. It's just a tiny little update, but I will do a bigger update in mid to late February, because I'm going to be releasing my briar shawl pattern, and I've been dyeing up lots of briar shawl kits to go with that pattern, and I will give you notice and tell you what day I'm going to do that, because I know before some people, by the time they've watched the video, the yarns are gone. So I will give you advance notice so you can pop it in your diary if you like, and it hopefully won't feel such like a rush. Yes, but these are going up on my website tonight, probably at about 6 o'clock. And yeah, the Jacob yarn is quite a woolly wool. As I mentioned before, it's quite like rustic. I absolutely love it. I wear Jacob socks gardening. I find them quite tough and very warm. It's like a boot sock. It's slightly thicker than 4-ply sock yarn. It's maybe getting closer to sport weight. But with each bundle, I'm going to link you to a free stripy sock pattern, very simple. And in there, there's a little chart, like in my sheepfold sock pattern, about what number to cast on for this yarn as compared to a average 4-ply sock yarn. So hopefully that helps. But I think they make a super cute little gift for you or someone else. So very happy with those colours. So I thought I would talk you through some of the things I'm currently working on, and then talk a bit about some more plans. Sorry for the changing light. I went to have a little break and make a cup of tea, and now I've got sudden like sun bursting through the mistiness and clouds, and yeah, so just drawn the curtain, so I hope it's not too dark. It's either that or like blinding white light. So this jumper, I showed you in my last video, if you watched that. It is the Pagan Sky sweater by Zanette Knits. I had to take a little pause on it because I wanted to finish off filming some bits for my briar shawl video and finishing another sample. But now that's all done and prepped and ready for the retreat, I have picked this up again. And I'm going on a little trip in my van this weekend to Wales, and I'm going to take it with me because I think it'll be a lovely cosy project. But I love how the pattern looks like a tree coming down with its roots. I think that's so pretty. I'm not sure if I'm going to do the whole colour work all the way or just do the top yoke. I'll put a picture up. Firstly, I'm not sure if I have enough yarn. Secondly, I'm not sure about doing colour work further down the sleeves and over the body. I can't decide. I think I'll get to that point and then I'll make a call about whether or not I do the whole thing or just a bit, but let me know what you think. I really like that. The two yarns, the grey base is a BFL Shetland blend from Cornwall that I am thinking of dyeing up and putting in my shop, but I just wanted to knit something in it first to see how it feels, which I'm really enjoying. And then the really, really dark brown that looks almost black is from the Raw Wool Company, and I bought that from them at Stitch Vest. I never buy anything at markets, but I was really tempted. So yeah, I'm really enjoying that. I think that's going to be a lovely, lovely jumper. It's been a long time since I've knit myself a big wintry jumper, and I've been working on a lot of samples recently, so it feels lovely to now just be working on this for me. I am knitting one other thing as well, and it's for my mum. So I designed a little fallow headband, dropping all the wool, a little fallow headband, which I made for Patreon at first, but is also on my Ravelry, and I use it a lot for gardening to keep the hair out of my eyes and keep my ears cozy while I'm working in the garden. And oh yeah, it's a nice simple double knitting pattern, and I'm knitting. My mum really loved it when I wore it when I went to see her the weekend last, so I'm hopefully I don't think that she regularly watches these videos, so hopefully she won't see this before her birthday in early February. But she looks amazing in blue, like really lovely, and I'm going to make her own one in this little indigo one in my colourway, which I've called Saxon, because it makes me think of Saxon blue, which is a shade, a dye used with indigo, and also woad was used all the time back then, so I've called it Saxon. And yeah, it's part of the little fallow headband kit on my website, but I thought I would knit her a little one for her birthday. Yeah, that's a nice little project to do. So those are things I'm currently knitting. Things I'm currently sewing are, well, I need to put the buttons on this coat, and then my quilt. So I'll get it down. It's as it was, I think, in my last video, it was all fully quilted. It still is, and it's coming with me this weekend on the trip. But as you can see, it's still not bound. I thought I was going to have more time over Christmas to... Oh, it's got really dark now. Sorry. I thought I was going to have more time over Christmas to do things like that. But I was just quite tired, and I was really enjoying a proper rest. I'm going to open the curtain because it now looks like it's incredibly dark. Bear with. The UK in January, I'm probably going to get a blast of sunlight in a second. But yeah, so I wanted to work on this gardening jacket as well, and I wanted to have a proper rest. And yeah, so I haven't bound it, but that's okay. I've been sorting out some more fabric scraps, because I thought I would do the binding in just scrap fabric again, like offcuts from pattern, things made from sewing patterns. And I thought it'd be nice then, because then I'm going to make all the strips of binding and join them up together, so then all the binding will be a patchwork as well, rather than just one colour. So I've been gathering up some lovely bits. So I think these will be really pretty. I didn't use this red and burgundy in the quilt, but I think the colours will be really nice with it anyway. And I'm looking forward to doing that. I think when I get back from the trip after this weekend, and next week oh, it's really bright now. And yeah, next week I'm hoping to start cutting some strips of binding, so hopefully my next video I'll be able to show you a bit more of that. I am looking forward to doing that. It just felt like a big thing to get out and start trying to get around my machine and everything. Sometimes I love sewing, and it's very hard to choose between knitting and sewing, not that anybody's making me, but if I'm quite tired and I just want to pick something up quickly, then I think knitting is just lovely for that. You can just pick up a little project, do a few rows and then put it down. Whereas sewing, I feel, is a bit more involved. I have to make space around my machine and get all the stuff out, and it's a bit more like physical work, especially with something this hefty. That's everything I'm currently working on, as well as doing more natural dyeing, which I kind of just do constantly, little bits. I would talk you through some of my plans for this year. So first thing, I've got sort of bigger plans in that I am hoping to run some more workshops. I loved doing them last year, and it was wonderful doing the in-person ones in Stroud. I am really keen to do a couple of online ones as well. I'm just trying to decide what I think those should be, what would be good choices. I am thinking though that they're going to be more sewing and quilting based for now, at the start anyway. But keep an eye out for those. And other than that, I am going to be releasing my Briar shawl. That is going to happen in sort of mid to late February. But sewing plans for me, I have been wearing, I'll show you, these Modern Sewing Company worker cords most days. These ones here. It's really hard, I don't have much space here to show you. They're in this sort of navy from Ray Stitch. I love the shape around the hips, there's quite a lot of ease, and they've just been really comfortable, really good height. Really love the fit of them. So I find that in the summer when I'm wearing trousers anyway, I wear a lot of elasticated waistband trousers, like my ninny culottes or my bob pants. And then in the winter, when I'm not wearing sort of wool tights, skirts and dresses, I have been wearing these. And I'm thinking that I want a second pair of cooler like winter wear trousers. And I've got this 12-ounce twill that I got like over a year ago from Merchant & Mills in this sort of tan colour, yellowy tan. And I don't know whether to make another pair of these worker trousers, which I know fit me and I really love, or to try something different and do like the Merchant & Mills Quinn trousers, which have got interesting detail. They've got like buttons down the side. They're a bit more like sailor pant style. Buttons down the side, so they don't have a zip or central fly. Has anybody made those? I think I've seen some people really love them, some people not so much, but it would be great. I haven't asked anybody for a while, and it'd be good to know if you've made them, what you thought of them, what you thought of the fit. So I think that could look really cool in this twill. That could look quite sharp. Yeah, so I'm not sure. I'm weighing up the two options, but I'm definitely going to make another pair of trousers. I'm just not sure which pattern. Other thing is I need to make another pair of gardening dungarees. It's heavier weight. My blue ones are wonderful, but on the coldest days they're not quite warm enough. And they're great for like general gardening, but when I'm doing sort of more heavier duty stuff, I don't want to wear through them really quickly. So I mentioned before, but I've got this really tough canvas, and I want to make a really like tough pair of gardening dungarees from these. I might use the Merchant & Mills Harleen dungaree pattern, which I've made before, but I might add a bit of elastic around the back waist, because they do have a lot of ease on me, like I showed you in a previous video. And yeah, I'll put a picture up as well for those who haven't seen all of my previous videos, sorry. Something that I definitely like to do this year, and started thinking about already, but just kind of ran out of time to focus on it last year, is related to my Bboy Vest, which is my first sewing pattern that I designed nearly a year ago now. I'm in the process of drafting an expansion pack for sleeves and an add-on little collar, and I'm very excited because I really love the shape of the Bboy Vest, and I think it seems to work well for lots of people. I've had some great feedback, which is lovely, and I thought it would be great, instead of designing a whole new pattern that you have to buy, it's just a little add-on to convert it to sleeves that fit well and move well, and and a little collar, so that you can make a little cute Bboy jacket, little Bboy coat. I haven't decided yet what I'll call it. I've been thinking a lot about my practice as well, and what's important to me with making, and having time to reflect a bit on what kind of designer and maker I want to be. And I think I don't want to just make things for the sake of it. Like, I want to create things that I think I'm going to use in my life and that other people might use, and that are quite practical, but also have an element of beauty about them as well. That's just me personally. That's what kind of motivates and drives me and makes me feel like excited about a project and want to continue. So they might be slow released patterns, but I hope that they come across as well thought through and well considered, and also considerate of resources, and that they're things to be valued and kept for a long time and mended and adapted, rather than sort of made and discarded. That's my hope. That's what I'd like it to be, and I'm trying to think about that kind of approach through all of my making. And I think something that's helped with that is actually doing lots of natural dyeing and thinking about the different parts of the process and how much work, effort, and energy goes into every step. And it's been a real eye-opener for me. I think I've absolutely loved sharing my naturally dyed wool and everything with you over the last year, and my practice has really developed over the course of doing that. So I really want to build on that and explore growing new things and dyeing with new things. So I'm very excited about that. And one of my other plans to do with understanding a bit more about the process is that for a long time I've really wanted to try out spinning. And I'm a little bit nervous because it seems like, well, it is this whole other way to experience fibre, which is exciting as well. But it's been a long time since I've started anything like that as a complete beginner. So I think that will be interesting to see. I had a lady offer me a secondhand spinning wheel, and I think that's what finally gave me like the kick to get started on it as an idea. So I have the spinning wheel, which is very exciting. It's not here, it's in my garage outside. But I thought, based on the advice of lots of people who know a lot more about it than me, that I should have a go using a drop spindle first. And very kindly, my lovely friend Angela got me a little drop spindle for our Secret Santa. I'll grab it and I'll show you. It's bright red and very cute. And yeah, it's going to be interesting getting to figure out how to use this, but I think it's going to be great. This is going to be a big plan, a big thing that I want to start working on this year, and I think it'll be really, she says, it's probably going to be quite difficult at first, but I'm hoping that when I get the knack of it, it's going to be a quite like meditative thing to do, and also quite a portable thing, hopefully, that I can take this out on walks with me and do a little bit of spinning. I have used one of these before for flax on a little course that I did here in Stroud, but I've never used yarn. But I do have a little bag of fibre that she got me as well, so I'm very excited to try this. You can follow along with me with my learning to spin journey if you like. Hello, so I'm downstairs now and I thought I would show you some of the seeds that I'm going to sow in my herb and natural dye garden. There we go. I won't talk through all of these because there's quite a lot, but I just thought I'd show you some seed companies that I love as well in case you haven't heard of them before. They're quite popular now, so you may have heard of Real Seeds, but they're a lovely Welsh family-run company and it's just all lovely. They have the most gorgeous packaging and a wonderful selection. I love growing winter squash. It's by far my favourite thing. I've got piles of them here, and they're all up this big shelf here and all over my kitchen. I love it, and they have really interesting varieties of winter squash. I won't start going on about loads of vegetables, but they also have lots of lovely herbs, and I'm trying some different ones out this year, which I'm very excited about. And yeah, I love mixing herbs and flowers together and vegetables. I like having some chard popping out and then some dye flowers and some rosemary or, yeah, broadleaf Chinese chives. Sorry, my chickens are knocking at the kitchen door because they've seen me come downstairs. They're so cheeky. They've become incredibly cheeky recently. They see me in the garden and I can see them running up to the back door and then they start tapping on the window. Naughty. Anyway, try and ignore them. Also, there's Vital Seeds, another lovely company. These guys are, yeah, these are Soilisation certified organic as well, as are Tamar seeds. I've got some of my own seeds that I saved. I've got some Cosmos, and these are Hopi sunflowers, which make a lovely sort of purple and with iron can shift to sort of greys and blacks. So I'm going to sow a lot more of these this year. I used them for bundle dyeing last year, but I want to have enough flowers that I can make a dye bath from. So I'll probably do a lot of those at Lucia's where there's a lot of space. And I've got some orange Cosmos seeds saved actually, which are drying on my window. And then from Tara McDonald, who's another natural dyer, I have some Coreopsis, and I used these guys loads for bundle dyeing last year. It ranged from yellows to orange to rusty colours, and they were beautiful, beautiful for wrapping up with your yarn. So I use that a lot, especially in the Patreon yarn. That's where that colour came from. I am also currently drying some indigo seeds that I mentioned. I sowed some from Tara last year, and also from my lovely friend Vicky from Knitter's Cottage, who sent me some seeds in the post. I sowed both of these and I'm seed saving from them, and they're currently drying out on the windowsill in that room as well. What else have I got here? Oh yeah, I've got Weld from Vicky as well. I sowed some last year. They're supposed to be sort of biennial in that they flower in the second year, and it's the flower tops that you use. But last year's weather was so weird, they all flowered in the first year, and I hadn't picked the flowers because I didn't want to stress them out too much. And now I think maybe I should have done, even though they weren't supposed to flower till the year after. So anyway, they had tons and tons of seeds in them. So I kind of gave them a shake and let them self-seed everywhere. And I think from what I've read that Weld does really well when it self-seeds compared to when you try to propagate it. So I'm hoping that will help. But in case you're starting Weld off, it likes quite a poor soil, and I started a couple off in seed trays and I only got a few germinating. In fact, I started off quite a lot and I only had a few germinate, but they grew up fine and they were really robust plants. Seem very happy to create a lot of seeds, so hopefully they'll go everywhere. And then I've also got madder, which used the root from a lovely dark red colour. So in fact, this red that I've got here in this sock set, this red is from madder, not my homegrown one yet, but it's just pure madder, beautiful, beautiful bright red on a grey base. And this peachy colour is also from madder, but it's from the exhaust. So once I've used up all the colour, this brownie colour is also from madder, and I kind of shifted the pH so that this with a bit of cream of tartar, so it's slightly more acidic for the peachy colour, and then this is on a grey base, and I didn't shift the colour, so it's kind of just slightly toned for grey. So madder I've got growing in a pot outside. It's a relative of gallium and of sticky willy, if you don't know what other people call it, but that plant that at least I remember in my childhood throwing at my brother's back to get it to stick to his jumper, and vice versa. That plant. But yeah, its relatives have gallium, like sweet woodruff, and it is not invasive, but it is very happy to spread everywhere. So it's in a pot and the leaves all died off, but I can see it all reshooting. So I'm going to pot it up this year and I'm going to let it grow, because I think you need to let it grow for several years before you can harvest any, really. So yeah, that's very exciting. Other than that, I've got lots of little herbs from Welsh Herbs, which are in plastic packets, but they have an amazing selection of herbs, and it's from Wales, so not too far away. And I've got some lovely things here that I'm growing for tea, which I had loads of last year, like lemon balm. I've got some bergamot. I've got salad burnet, which has a nice cucumbery flavour to the leaves. That's in my wildflower garden, actually. Comfrey, which I grow because you can harvest the leaves and use it for fertiliser for tomatoes and things. And I've got some clary sage because yet another random project idea I have is to start making some of my own soap. And I love the smell of clary sage. Yeah, that's my little seed sowing, Natradine and herb garden update. So that's all I have to talk about today. A video I've got coming up that I've had filmed for about a year that I just haven't edited is my little trip to Merchant & Mills last February. Oh, I remember why, because I was also making the Merchant & Mills Frankly backpack with the things we bought there. So I was filming my partner and I making that. So I'm going to edit that soon, and I'm hoping to get that up in the next week or so. So yeah, look out for that. And then after that, I'll be doing a little video where I talk about the briar shawl and the yarn kits and things like that before I release those, so you'll have notice. And if you're interested in the sock sets, they should be going live about 6 p.m. tonight, which is Friday the 17th of January. And yeah, sorry if you watch this later than that, I will be more organised in future videos. But here they are, and there's 6 sets, I think, and they're going to go on my website at 6 o'clock tonight. Yeah, so I hope you enjoy them if you do decide to get a little bundle. I hope you're all keeping warm and cosy and enjoying your projects. I always love to hear what you're up to, so please do comment and let me know. And I will catch up with you soon. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and lots of love. Bye.